continue recording. Okay, PodJack95, an evening podcast as well. I love an evening podcast. Usually I'm in bed by now. We've got Beau.
I'm usually playing your bass.
Yeah, you are usually playing your bass. Musician, Amington Shores. Tattooist, of course, good friend. How have you been?
Alright, up and down.
How's
Up and down like everyone.
Yeah.
It's been quite very productive, let's just say it's been very productive.
Oh yeah.
You know, not been sat in here doing those. We've been very busy. We'll explain that to you.
Yeah.
It's a bit of madness on my behalf, but
one thing I think about, like, because obviously I'll go running, like I try and run every day just to use the exercise, and I run up and down the canal, and I always see your garden, and I haven't got a garden.
Yeah.
So I was living on the back of the canal. It's quite nice for you.
Yeah, it is. But, yeah, we're fortunate to have it.
You are.
But we're fortunate to have good neighbours as well. Because where it is, it's so open at the back. You know, it hasn't always been fantastic, but it's so open at the back.
Yeah.
That you see your neighbours ever such a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's what I would describe as the key to proper social housing.
Yeah.
Not what you've got now, not what you see now. I mean, everywhere you look, they're like building. They're taking these like quite big pieces of land, and they're cramming literally as many houses on it as they can.
Oh yeah, they definitely are.
They're not giving any thought to any green spaces for the kids. They're not giving any thought to gardens for the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, psychologically, you're looking at these houses and you're thinking, what are people really going to do to them?
Yeah.
Probably watch them deteriorate over the next.
Yeah, it is like they're trying to fit as many as possible, aren't they?
So you see some houses, you're selling them off as like a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
A 3 or a 4-bedroom house, a big house, not big garages. And then you're looking back and you think, well, what the hell are they? If they've got kids, the ones that have kids, 4-bedroom house, what are those kids going to be able to do in such a small green space? In the housing estate, no green spaces. So your kids have got to go
into the road almost
and find some green spaces. What tends to happen is, by the looks of it, is that the kids end up staying in and not exploring as much as they used to, what we used to when we were kids. You know, we literally, by the time you reach a certain age, you open the back door of your house, you're gone, but you had green spaces, loads of green spaces to play football.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I used to do as well. Like, just go somewhere where there's a field and just play. And it's like they've been locked into a little area where all the houses are. Yeah. And it's mainly just road and their own little garden. It's like a weird small housed village.
But it's just like, for us, as kids growing up, we did have green spaces, and there was me and a family called the Jordans, 3 boys, so you'd expect 4 of us, grew up on football, playing football, and a lot of these green spaces, just very young kids.
Yeah.
And like for me, that was, at that young age, when we were playing football, you can imagine we had this green space outside, and it was lovely. We had trees that were growing like goalposts. It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
And then you get like all these neighbours around you, and they're all fine, they're all brilliant, apart from one neighbour. So you get one neighbour. This is when you first, as a kid, as a child, without realising it, you come up across the first bit of politics in your life. And what happened for us is there was all these neighbours, and every one of them was brilliant, apart from one neighbour. And if the ball went on his lawn, or if the ball went on his garden, he was right. He used to stand on his doorstep or walk up his path and pretty much just like shout obscenities at us to get clear off and everything. You've got to understand, we're just like kids who are playing football, close to our homes, safe, having a nice time with it. This bloke wants to come out and give us all abuse. Well, what happened was, obviously we're cheeky little kids, isn't it? So we're not too enamoured of having a neighbour who wants to tell us to sling our hook.
Yeah.
So the Jordans weren't too, you know, they were pretty rough and ready, just like I was. So they'd often not, you know, well, you know, won't be this off, all the rest of it. So we get a little bit cheeky because there was this dynamic going on where this bloke clearly hated us for enjoying ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy thing to like, you know what I mean? Coming back the other way. So it's not an easy thing to like. But what happened is that one day, you know, you wake up in the morning and you have your breakfast. You can't wait to get out for the day, and you step outside your back door, and there you see, stamped in the middle of the grassy green space that we used to occupy as kids playing football. And there's this fucking sign saying ball games prohibited or no ball games allowed. Right? Now you've got to understand, you know, as a kid, this sign
everything away from you there.
Yeah, absolutely everything. And as a kid, you don't realise it at the time because you're a kid. But when you look back at it as an adult, you realise that that was your first introduction to politics and councils and the things that people are willing to do based on one person.
Yeah.
You've got to understand, it was one person. It wasn't the whole fucking street. It wasn't the people over the road, the people up the road. Out of all the people that lived where we lived on Cooper Walk, there was one person. And that one person was able to get in touch with the council.
And stop everything.
But they did it everywhere, Jack. Once they did it at one place, once they did it on one green space, then they did it on others. And they were actually putting no ball games on literally every green space.
Yeah.
Other than the park.
Yeah.
So let me explain to you about the park. Wiggy Park, we used to, obviously, couldn't play outside. There was the sign telling you can't do it anymore. So we bugger off down to Wiggy Park, which is probably where he wanted us to go. Nobody else was bothered, but it was where he wanted us to go. But we used to go down Wiggy Park because the grass was immaculate.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So all the rugby pitches, all the football pitches, even the space, even the green spaces where where it wasn't a football pitch, always mowed. What they used to do is they used to mow Wiggy Park, absolutely mow it to perfection. So you know, you had a ball at your feet, so it's going to stay at your feet.
Oh yeah, you've got the skill then.
Oh yeah, mate, I've got some skills. I retired on the high note when I played football, right? Because I had a love-hate relationship with football. But the council, they would cut it and they would take the grass away. And then what they started doing, because obviously they started to make cutbacks. So what they started to do was they'd mow the grass and then they'd like move it like in a big pile and leave it there.
Yeah.
Kids would have a great deal of fun playing in that.
Playing the grass.
But then eventually they stopped coming round and they just stopped mowing grass. Simply because of cutbacks to public services and to public things. And that's your first taste as a kid of a word you'll recognise, because you hear people saying it all the time. And that's austerity. You've heard this word, austerity. It's because of austerity that's like this. This government apparently is responsible for austerity. But clearly, the last government was as well, because the same cutbacks were being made. Yeah. And those cutbacks started when I was a kid for me. You know, right back to infant school when you had, like, you know, you used to get a bottle of milk. They'd get the crates out, get a bottle of milk. Yeah. And all of a sudden, your milk fucking disappeared. And nobody really explained it. Yeah, nobody explained it. But obviously, I think it was Margaret Thatcher who obviously thought, well, we can buy fucking milk, and we can have milk at home. Yeah. That's, you know, and that's, again, like a little taster of all these cutbacks. You know.
It's like from like the sign saying no ball games. Do you ever feel like just because that sign is there, you're gonna go and play on it even more? which is kind of like in the real world, when people get told by government, for example, that you can't do something, sometimes it makes people want to do it even more, because, you know, if they're going to stop you from doing something, then you're going to...
I mean, like I say, we didn't like the bloke doing it. So as kids, you know, you've got your ways of paying that particular person back. You just start throwing eggs at the window.
Yeah.
Just knocking and running and things like that. Things that obviously not irritating, but are a bit of fun without actually smacking the guy in the chops, which is hard because you're only like 6 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but for us, when you see a sign and it appears, well, you're already being brought up in a world where you know things are going on and the rules that you have to abide by.
Rules are being set by one bloke.
And you kind of abide by them. So I mean, the thing was slap bang in what was the centre now. You know what I mean? So it completely destroyed the whole dynamic. Who wants to run into a fucking sign when you just dribble past?
Yeah.
Four of your mates?
That's it. Well,
you know, so we took the sign as a no, you can't do it anymore, and we went.
Yeah, of course.
We didn't try and, but we did use it as a ramp for push bikes.
Oh.
You know, you only push bikes and you're doing like evil Knievel.
Yeah.
We did do that a couple of times, which pissed him off as well.
Yeah, you've got to keep him entertained a little bit. Can't let them have their way completely.
No, but we didn't. You know, we didn't do it very often because it hurts, did it?
Yeah.
It hurts now and again, doesn't it?
I'll spread it.
This is a true story. This is Jack. One night we were. Do you know the Earth's? You know the Earth's spinning this thing called the Taurine meteor stream, right? And it's like a meteor stream, and the Earth slowly goes into it.
Okay,
and it spends about 12 days apparently.
Yeah.
You know, in the meteor stream. So, and Graham Hancock, who I'm not a big fan of anymore, but they used to be. He does say some things, and he does have a certain way that I don't like. But he says it's a little bit like crossing the motorway with your eyes blindfolded. You know? See, they were basically talking about the possibility of a great big meteor coming, smashing into the Earth and causing a cataclysmic event like it did 12,000 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But he said it's like putting a blindfold on, walking across the motorway, hoping you get to the other side. So basically he's saying that going into this meteor stream is a bit like crossing the motorway with a blindfold on. I don't know how often he's crossed the motorway with a blindfold on, but the chances are if you get to the other side is virtually fucking nil. So the chances of Earth going through the meteor stream, in my opinion, without being clobbered by a great big meteor is fucking nil, based on what Graham Hancock has said. And of course, you know, it's just a fucking silly thing to say. We've been through this meteor stream, we go through it twice a year, and you get to see some incredible meteors in the sky. And I was walking up the garden and one came over the top of my head, and it was the longest stream I've ever seen from a shooting star. You know,
is that how you lost your hair?
That's mainly how it was. Yeah. You know, meteors. But this one come over my head and it was massive and looked beautiful. But the one year I had some mates round and we said, we're into the meteor stream, so we have a bit of a night around the fire.
Yeah.
And there was about 5 of us in all. You know, we were having a smoke and having a good time and everything. And most of the time we were like looking up and, you know, it's like, fucking hell, there's one. And you could see one, but it isn't like how Graham Hancock says. You can be out there for hours and not see one.
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, well, you've got to spend time out there.
Yeah.
But you know, for God's sake, nothing's common as that heavy. But you do see meteors.
Yeah.
But we were all out there, you know, talking about like aliens and stuff. But we were looking up at the sky, and one of the lads went, "Fucking hell, what's that?" And he was pointing, and we all clocked it. There was about 5 of us, and we all saw the same thing. And basically, what we were looking for was 4 triangles. You can imagine 4 diamond shapes.
Yeah.
Like squares, you know, but square.
But on an angle, yeah.
There was one at the front, one behind it, one at the side, one to the left.
Yeah. So a big triangle.
All making one great big square. And this thing flew over Tamworth, right? This is not bullshit. I swear to God, I could get the people who saw it on your show and say, tell him what we saw. We saw 4 objects tightly packed together, making one object. No sound, no lights, really fucking silent, really flying, really low. Now, I'm not saying it was a UFO with aliens in it. I'm not saying that.
Was it the Pope?
I'll tell you what, I should hope it was, mate. They need to reveal what it was. But what I am saying is, it was something that we didn't know existed. It was something that we don't know exists. Because if it was built by America or China, this thing was definitely alien technology. It was not a standard aeroplane. It was silent. It had no lights on it whatsoever. And it whispered across the sky quite low. And basically what I'm saying is technology that we don't know about.
Yeah.
So if we don't know about little things like that, it's hardly it's hardly surprising that we find things that are going on in the world a little bit difficult to digest, and a little bit difficult to believe, and a little bit difficult to not be a little bit sceptical about it, including global viruses.
Oh, and how much that night did you smoke as well?
The usual. Well, you know, it's one of those, isn't it, for me, you know.
Yeah.
I don't drink, you know, we can talk about that another day. I don't drink alcohol. There are very specific reasons why I don't drink alcohol. I keep going to have a drink. Keep saying to me, yeah, go on, I'll have a drink with you. But when it actually comes to the act of having a drink, don't seem to be able to do it, or I have a go at it, because, you know, it's just not for me. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like a cup of tea.
You do? Yeah, you like a cup of tea.
I love a cup of tea, and I smoke weed and you know, not loads of it because it's too expensive, but I smoke it. I prefer a joint over a pint any day of the week. And, you know, I know it's illegal. Everybody knows it's illegal. The coppers that come here know it's illegal. And they know that I do it. They know that I smoke it very openly within the back what I do. And they couldn't give a fucking shit because they think it's a load of bollocks. They think the war on drugs was last years ago. The thought of arresting somebody for having a bit of weed on them, now they can think about things to do. That's like, this is my fault. They're really not that big on arresting me. So when they learn about me smoking it more often than not, they're like everybody else that's curious to understand why you do it. You know, what do you get out of it? You know, and stuff like that. You know, I'm curious to know what I get out of it. but I, you know, I enjoy it. I think if I'm being honest, you know, having a habit that lasts all day, and listen, I've been here with this habit, you know, where I get up in the morning and have a half-10 joint, and the whole day is fucking spent smoking it. It doesn't destroy my day. You know, it doesn't destroy my day. I'm very productive when I smoke it. I never put the telly on. I never sit down doing fucking nothing. I'm very productive. You know, my mind is very productive. I think a lot. You know, and stuff like that. And somebody who likes getting, you know, kind of works. But just lately, I've reached that point with it where I've had to go a little bit like, you know, you need to just do it less. Yeah. Simply because it's not fucking good for you. No. You know, it's not good for you in health-wise. I'm talking. I'm not concerned about the mental health aspects of smoking weed. I think they've all been taken out of context. I think they've all been escalated into a proportion that's just so fucking ridiculous now, where people who experience sometimes a higher level thinking, higher level way of thinking. They're being drawn into aspects of paranoia and all that. I think that's horseshit. You know, I think paranoia sometimes can be misconstrued when it's in fact just you thinking at a bit of a different level, a higher level. There was a doctor who was looking at the, you know, there was a program on BBC, and as with all these programs, they're a little bit one way or they're a little bit biased one way or whatever. And they were testing the levels of THC, and he was taking THC through basically a fucking bong, right? Yeah. So this doctor was hitting this bong, like this great big fucking bucket bong that got this measured amount of THC, and the idea was that he would do certain tests and see how he was affected. Yeah. One of these tests that he was doing was basically he was looking at a computer and these faces were coming up, and he had to sort of like get some kind of response from how he was perceiving what he was seeing. Yeah, what he was seeing. And so these pictures kept popping up, different faces. And this went on for ages. And this doctor started to go, in his mind, he was doing this test, which he started to find really quite monotonous and boring. And then he started to think in his head, is this the test? Is this me being tested? Am I being made to do this boring fucking test? But actually being made to do this boring test, that's the test to see how I'm reacting. And he kept saying to this bloke, he kept going, how long is this going on for, mate? How long does this go on for? And he was going, no, just carry on with the test. And he was going, yeah, but he was going, no, please carry on with the test. But this doctor was going, yeah, but basically it was feeling like
he was being tested himself.
He was being tested, yeah. And then when they analysed the footage, they basically put this doctor's reaction down to being paranoid. And they said that, we found at that time you were experiencing paranoia. And the doctor was going, yeah, I actually started to feel like, you were testing me, and this test was a test, and I was getting so bored with it. I was thinking that they're going to make me do this, but it wasn't paranoia. The guy was doing a boring fucking test. Yeah. And he started to think at a little higher level, thinking, are these guys setting me up?
Yeah. Because he was that bored.
Yeah, because he was that fucking bored. And trust me, when you have a joint, you don't want to be bored. No. You don't want to be bored. Having a joint and being bored, the two don't go hand in hand. In my opinion, they don't go hand in hand. You need some stimulus. You need some stimulus, whether it's something to watch, something to do, like playing the bass, playing your music.
Yeah, what you do.
Something to talk to. You need
something that will benefit from probably having it as well yourself, won't it?
Yeah, because we've got a few alcoholics around here. We've got one alcoholic around here, and she justifies her alcoholism by saying, "Well, you smoke weed," and then you just think, "Well, I feel myself personally that I get a lot out of smoking weed, but she gets absolutely nothing from being an alcoholic other than her life completely going down the pan." Yeah. And destroying everything about herself, destroying everything about herself, and as you know, like, it's quite a short lifespan being an alcoholic. If you don't get to grips with it, you usually end up with a horrendous complex. Physical complex, really poor internal organs, and you die. And for me,
and that's the way it is.
It's just from those two things alone. For me, a joint now and again, it's worth way more than any other. Alcoholic problem that you might find that you've got.
Yeah.
But that's not. That's kind of not the reason why I don't drink. I don't drink for personal reasons, because of events that happened to me in 2007, your life doesn't go swimmingly well. I pretty much struggled all my life to settle into the idea that you work most of your life, and your time that you get to yourself is limited. You can't really make any moves to do anything if you're tied to everything like mortgages and
things are stressful.
It's always been really difficult for me to balance. So, I've always found myself in a little bit of a predicament. But I never really found anything that feels a real challenge or feels even valuable to do. So it's been really a real struggle. The tattooing is the first thing that I've done well. I feel like I get a lot of that.
Something out of it.
Something out of it, yeah.
Of course.
Your artistic skills, but it still only goes so far.
Yeah.
And I start wondering about. My mind starts to wander and think about what I could do next, or what else could I do that, because I feel everything I do always feels like I've left it too late.
Yeah.
Teaching, tattooing.
So you want to move on to the next thing to try and get there before it's too late.
That way now, I've stopped thinking that way now. I've even thought recently about the possibility of studying again and doing some things that are interesting to me, like psychology, like human behaviour and things like that. Maybe there are some courses like that where I might be able to expand how I am as a person and it's been some kind of benefit for everybody else.
Well, I think you've probably had a lot of events and a lot of things happen that psychology might help you talk to other people.
Yeah.
So, everyone has had bad experiences. Yeah. They need someone to tell. And if you've had them as well, you can almost, you understand where they're coming from, don't you? If you've had it done to yourself. So if you was a psychologist and you've had it all, then
Well, I think when you sort of, I'm not trying to big anything up 50-year-olds, but I didn't mind turning 50. Everybody wants a young face for the rest of the days. Of course, it don't happen. You get older, but I can honestly say that after the time that I had from my late 30s to now, my 50s have been, reaching 50, you've got a lot of things that you've seen, you've got a lot of things that are going on that you're hearing, and you can fit everything that you've experienced in your life into the arguments that you can bring to the table to discuss things that you feel are wrong, or you feel that could ideas that could change. We've got 52 years of it, and we're sort of like touching on mental health. Well, for the large part of your life, especially young, come across things in your mind that are, you're struggling and you're pretty unsettled by things. Like for me, I got married quite early, and I was expected to settle into a way of being, which seemed very metronomic and not very rewarding. And then you quickly establish that, in my mind, nothing ever felt right, and I just felt like I need to, to kind of like move on, move away from it all. But the difficulty is when you're married, and that there's always two people, and it's a big ask to get married. It's a big ask to share your life with someone. As much as I personally would always want to share my life with someone, but it's quite difficult, and without going into too much detail, the difficulties of life can take its toll on you, and all the things that I felt, happened to me years ago, and I'm talking pre-2007.
Mm.
You know, weighed heavy. I mean, it was, it's quite clear to me that, that coming up to 2007, never having had anybody to really talk to, never really having anybody to say, why am I feeling this way? And then they can say like, look, don't worry about it. It's fairly normal to feel like that. It's fairly normal to think like that. And don't beat yourself up about it. You're just an individual who feels like that, who just feels that things aren't quite and they should be and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And like for me, not being able to, because understanding is everything. If you suffer with, if you suffer with anxiety and you suffer with depression, then if you can get to understand, because you hear people sometimes going, "Oh, I'm depressed," and you say to them, you go, "But why are you depressed?" Yeah. And they go, "Oh, I don't know.
I just am."
I just am, and you just think. Me personally, I just think no.
You're
not buying that. Not buying that. No. When you suffer with anxiety, and the two things are quite different. When you suffer with anxiety and depression, you fucking know. You know that anxiety is there because there is something in your life that's not right, and it's weighing heavy. And when it weighs heavy, it creates an anxiety in your life, which is fucking normal. This is the bit that people seem to miss, that anxiety and depression is normal in our society. You've got to understand that the way our society is, the way that the world works, means that you are gifted from the moment you are born.
It's like brought upon you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a conducive with environment. So if you're anxious about something, of course you know what it is. But if you can establish an understanding of what it is, when you understand it, then you're best placed to deal with it. And I honestly do not believe, because I never, ever, I didn't take it when I, at my worst, the only thing I took was sleeping pills because, I couldn't sleep. So when I, we went up to 2007, which when I was at my worst, and my anxiety and my depression was really, it was the worst it had ever been. And I got to a point, where I really genuinely felt like that everything was so stacked against me that, that I couldn't, because my mind is broken, This is what people really find difficult to understand, including my own family and stuff. And they find it difficult to understand. And we're all supposed to be so much more aware, like Mental Health Awareness Week or whatever.
Yeah.
Supposed to be, but you find those supposed to you, they're the fucking worst ones. They're the worst ones for laying judgment on you because your mind's gone. Because your mind's broken. And when mine went, and I can remember exactly where I was, and I can remember exactly where I was going, where I felt this switch over into something that was completely alien. Mm-hmm. And then at its worst, it manifested itself in some really poor behaviour. And then in 2007, for me personally, 2007 was the turning point in my life, because I made like a very serious attempt on, I made a very serious attempt on my life, and the trouble is, when you talk about suicide and stuff, when you talk about suicide to people, a lot of people will think, well, that's fucking selfish. You're being fucking selfish, because at the time, I got mom, dad, brother, 2 sisters, a daughter. I've got a daughter as well, who was only a baby, she was only a kid. And, to turn your back on all of that and decide in your mind that you can't do this anymore. Yeah. And you make it, it's a big deal. People shouldn't.
Well, there's actually something serious, isn't there, that's going through your head, that the person that's saying it's selfish doesn't actually, has not understood yet.
They don't know. They don't know, and they don't know because they've never experienced it quite as severe as that. Everybody experiences depression.
Yeah.
Everybody experiences anxiety, but not everybody goes to the point of suicide.
No.
And people do go to the point of suicide. Some people actually go through with it. For me, my suicide attempt, I can remember everything about the start of the evening. You know, I can remember the film I was watching. I can remember a certain set of circumstances happening which led me to leave the house, go and find out information in the hope that when I found out the information, because my head was all wrong, that I could deal with it. And I remember going out the house and saying, I'm going to go and find this information. I'm going to go and find out if I'm right.
It's true. Yes,
I'm going to go and find out if I'm right. And if I'm right, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But when this thing happened, you know, my head just imploded. And I can remember drinking. I can remember, because I had Guinness in the house, so I can remember drinking, and I remember the drink. There's two things I want to say about this. I remember the drink. I remember getting absolutely stone cold fucking drunk. I remember because the following day I had like, Guinness all down my front. You know, I was covered in Guinness. Now I remember drinking. I remember messaging. I remember texting. I remember drinking. But I do not remember taking anything. I do not remember taking a single fucking tablet.
Yeah.
So when I was found, and I was found at 4:30 in the morning, having sent lots of garbled messages, you know, to somebody I rather not mention, but you know, to somebody, it was really the garbled messages that kind of saved. I don't know whether I would have died because I can't sit here and say how much I took. All I know is that when people came to the house, and there were people that I knew at 4:30, I'd emptied the cupboard, and I'd emptied the cupboard of sleeping tablets, anxiety tablets, which I don't think are dangerous. Sleeping tablets are paracetamol, ibuprofen, you know, like I say, you know.
Whatever you can find.
Yeah, I emptied the cupboard. And then, you know, after 4 in the morning, you know, I was found something on the bedroom floor. And, you know, having taken massive overdose. What I want people to understand is that when people kill themselves, the idea that people get in their heads is that they decided that they get up in the morning and they decided, you know what, I've fucking had enough. I'm going to teach some people a lesson in my life. I'm going to take my life away. I'm going to take my life away. I'm going to make a point. I'm going to make the most dramatic point I can possibly make to every single fucking person that's ever wronged me, or every single person that's ever got under my skin, got inside my head, got my brain around, all the rest of it. I'm going to teach you all a fucking lesson. But the reality of suicide, from a personal point of view, I can only talk about it from a personal point of view and what happened to me. I did not make that decision that day that I was going to kill myself because I had no intentions of doing that.
No.
I had absolutely no intentions, right? None at all. I didn't once, not once during that course of that day, think about
go through your head.
My life. Not once. The reality is that my brain or what was wrong with my mind, you know,
wanted to do it.
Completely taken control of who I was as a person. And there are friends who I knew. There were friends that turned their back on me. There were friends that turned their back on me, which is not supposed to. You're supposed to be mentally aware. and there are some, you know, and there are friends that I met that were new friends and things like that. It was quite comforting. But the point that I'm trying to make is that you could be angry with somebody who's killed themselves. You hear about somebody who's committed suicide, and you can be angry with them, and the people that love them can be angry with them. When in reality, what the point that they're missing is that if their mind had collapsed so much that the business of ending or terminating their life, in my opinion, may not be their deal, may not have been their decision. You know, it may well have been a decision that happened involuntarily through a series of things. Like for me, it was a series of events. Drank a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
And I do believe as well, Jack, that if you were to check most suicide victims, I bet you a high percentage of those victims would have alcohol in their bloodstream. In their bloodstream, you hear it all the fucking time. You hear it all the time. You know, like I say, I remember drinking. Do not remember.
It's like the takeover, isn't it?
Any drugs, yeah. Do not remember taking any pills. I did not.
No.
But I do know that after what had happened, and I started to, you know, what happened, and there was a couple of times. Yeah, obviously, I had an awareness of what had happened. Obviously, the following day comes to you like a train, what you've just done, and then you think, fuck. You know, you think, fucking hell. You know, my life cannot get any worse right now. You know, you've been very lucky. You know, whether I would have died or not, I don't know. I can't answer that. But I was very lucky, I suppose, because every intention to end my life was there. And, you know, but there were a couple of occasions after that where I drank, but I had an awareness. You know, I can remember like the one time, I mean, you know, the one time, you know, I thought, fucking hell, I did that one suicide attempt, that was genuine. And then I thought I'd have a go at another, but it wasn't genuine. It was thought out. You know, I drank loads of fucking drink. I took a load of tablets. Yeah. And then the next thing I know, you know, I'm fucking vomiting and it's all coming up. You know, my mind is fucking going, what are you doing? You know, my mind is fucking screaming at yourself. What are you doing? But you have an awareness of what you're doing. You know what you're doing. It wasn't the same as the first time. No. The first time was a complete collapse of your mind. It was a complete collapse of your rational thought and everything else. But the second time, it was so contrived, so never going to happen. You know, because you know. Away from it. Yeah, and of course, the second time I tried to do it, and then thought, you know, I had this realisation of what I was doing. And then I had to sort of sit down. I had to sort of sit down with myself.
Talk to yourself, I think.
Yeah, and I had to go, what the fucking hell are you doing? You know, you're going to end up, you know, throwing your life away. And for what exactly, you know? For what? And of course, then you as soon as you say it to yourself, and I'll tell you a few true stories. You meet people, and they come along in your life, and they say things, and they don't fucking say a lot. They don't stood in front of you for 3 hours trying to talk you out of your mental state. They just say a few little things, and it makes you go, fucking hell. And the first person was my doctor. And when I used to have this lovely relationship with my doctor, a guy called Dr. Boss. Lovely bloke. And the way he talked to me is the way that, you know, he was conducive with somebody who really did give a shit. And he used to call me son. And one of the things, when I told him about this suicide thing, it was all recorded and stuff like that on his database, wherever. And when I talked to him about it, he looked at me and he went, "Oh," he goes, "Oh man," he says, "You are a silly boy, you know." And you know, and then I was kind of like, yeah, I know. And he looked at me and he goes, "Can I just tell you something that I feel you really fucking need to know?" He didn't say fucking because he never swore.
Yeah.
But he says, can I just tell you something that you really need to know? And he said, he looked at me and he went, "All your good times come to an end, mate. Didn't anybody ever tell you that?" And he fucking comes straight out with it, right? And I'm sitting opposite him, and I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of know, because I nearly killed myself, you know, and life's been pretty miserable for the last, God knows how long, because my marriage was a disaster, and this was a fucking disaster, and
everything was going wrong.
All the jobs I ever had fucking tortured me, you know, and I wondered why I was there all my fucking life. I should be doing other things. And then he looked at me square in the face, and he just said, straightforward, he just said, "So do you bad times." And just like going, you know, it just smacks you in the teeth. It just smacked me in the teeth, because I realised for the first time that how I'm feeling now, or how I've been feeling, isn't necessarily going to be that way in the future or forever.
Mm-hmm.
And although, you know, things are difficult, at the moment there are things that are difficult.
Yeah.
I kind of like learned ways of coping with it and learned ways of dealing with it. So it's not such a big impact on your head. And sometimes it's just a simple thing like, you know, if that particular person or this particular group of people are really negative, and everything that they say to you and everything they do is negative. I could be talking about family, you know.
Yeah.
Family. I could be talking about friends. I find it so easy now to just go. I will simply just remove that from my life. It's that simple, because I have that fucking choice. I have the choice not to listen to that. I have the choice not to listen to somebody who is trying, in my opinion, to destroy every ounce of who I am in vile fucking manifested work, manifestations or words. And what I do is I shut the door on it.
Yeah.
You know, and I've learned to shut the door on it. I've learned to shut the door on them.
That's good.
I've learned to shut the door on negative things.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got somebody negative around, and they're not, you know, that it's not conducive to feeling good or good well-being, but I'll get rid of it. You know, I've got friends who have been friends since I was a little fucking child. Yeah. Who have known me most of my life, who have become quite negative quite negative. And listen, I'm not, you should have seen me pre-2007. I was negative, not about people, my people.
By yourself.
But I was about myself. But these are people who are negative about you.
Others.
You know, you go, "Oh, I'm playing the bass," and they go, you can see they're a little bit fucked up about it, or they're a bit miffed. You've learned to play a musical instrument, and actually you're fucking better than them, or you're picking it up because you're so interested in it, like I have before.
And they're just surrounded by negative traits.
Then you're surrounded by negative, and all of a sudden they want to pick up on you, the fact you've got no hair, that you're small, that you're this and you're that, and they just want to just take your character and try and destroy it and make it something that is worthless or fucking not as good as them or whatever. But I've learned to shut the door on them, and I've had to shut the door on close friends, and I've had to shut the door on members of my family, simply because that every time they are here,
it's just
when
negative.
They go, you are fucking up here. You are left with a head that is somersaulting and spinning, and you wonder where all this fucking shit's coming from. When really all it is that the things that you expect, like love and like friendship and all that, isn't really there. You know, it isn't really there. They don't feel it enough. Because they don't feel it enough, it manifests itself in really awful fucking human behaviour that can turn your world upside down because you feel a closeness to these people. Well, you know, for me personally, that there are people around me who I've 100% lost that closeness with, and I'm going to be it's going to be very difficult in getting it back because I just simply refuse to have negative people around me spewing their negative bollocks. In a world that needs to get better, you know, in a world where that needs to be fucking, you know, a much nicer place to reside and love in.
It's negative enough as it is, isn't it? Without other people bringing their own negative vibe around you. I've read so many. Well, I've read a few, should I say, books on stuff like that and about living actually in this moment, getting rid of that negative thoughts, and obviously real understanding that whatever's happening right now, whether it's bad or good, is not there forever. So that's another thing. And if you can understand and realise them sort of things, then you're not really going to be negative. You're not going to feel it because you know it's not going to be there. So getting rid of them as well is just another step and nothing else. I think personally I'm very positive. Like there's not really much negativity that ever comes out of my mouth, even if it's a bad situation. It's not always obviously a good thing to not have any negative. Like sometimes something might happen. You've got to understand that it's not a good thing. But if you can push it onto other people, the positivity that you bring, if you give it to other people, then you need to break down their negative side.
I mean, from a friendship point of view, if I was being really negative, and I would hope that somebody would tell me, you know, the people that are friends, my friends, especially, and my family that I've had negative experiences with. You know, I've tried to explain it as best I can to why it feels fucking awful to me.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember, 2007. You know, this was a mine that had exploded, and fucking God knows what could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, so for me, who's 52 and whose only aim in life is to just survive it, man. You know, just get to the end in the most natural way possible. I don't want for anything. I don't want any trinkets. I don't want any fucking gold. I never wanted. I've only ever owned 5 fucking vehicles in my entire life. I passed my driving test when I was 17. I've owned fucking 6 vehicles, all of which I've run into the ground. And I'm just not that person who wants a car to, you know, I don't want anything. It's just
don't want the fancy stuff.
I don't want none of it. I just want
to be happy.
The most basic life. What's more important to me as a person is time. Right now, if people out there want to cast judgment and say you're a lazy fucker because you don't want to work, I work, right? I work, and I work fucking hard at all the things that I do. Yeah. Whether it's tattooing, whether it's fucking gardening, whether it's making something, whether it's wood carving, which I've been doing, which I've been really enjoying. Mm-hmm. I work all the fucking time. I just don't work for money. Yeah. And if I could, right, if I could work for no money, I would. If I could work for no money. If you said to me, do us a tattoo, and I've got to spend 20 hours on you, and you feel the need to give me some kind of payment for it, ask me what I fucking need. Ask me something. Say, what do you need, mate? You know, what are you struggling with? Well, you know, my fucking oven's just gone bang, and seen one for like 100 quid. You know, just get us fucking oven. I need an oven.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I like
kind of
that.
like
That's good.
it's kind of like the global resource idea, you know, where you share resources. I can tattoo you, you can fix me.
You give me something in return.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you can do things that way for people because I where I live here, you know, the people around here up and down the terrace.
Yeah.
You know, we've all got into this mindset of, you know, could you do? I've been making stuff like at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I've made fire pits. I've made some fire pits, and you know, by hand, all of it, rest of it. Love these fucking fire pits, man. And it's like you go, here's a fire pit, and then the person that you give the fire pit to will go, here's some plants, here's some stuff.
Yeah.
And it's literally like swapping biscuits for bags and like, you know, spare bits of bread, you know, bits of bread. You've got any bread, and it's like nobody's going, you know, do you want this? Yeah, tenner. Yeah, I'll do it for you for 50 quid. You know, I'll ship that about for you for this. Yeah. Like, you know, it's like a nice social community of people around here, all looking,
after
each other. And for me personally, my time is more important. Has been more important than any job, any amount of money, anything.
Yeah.
Time. When you've got time, i.e., when you're not at work, when you're not being forced to do all the things that you don't really want to do. You know, even people earning good money, Jack, don't want to. If you said to them, you know, that good money, well, you can have the good money, but you ain't got to work fucking 20 hours for it. You can still have the money, but you ain't got to do 75 hours this week.
Yeah.
They take the fucking money.
Yeah,
they don't want to do the 75 hours. They don't want to do the 75 hours. They're only doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Well, for me, you can fucking keep it. You can keep the 75 hours. You can keep the money. You can keep all the trinkets and everything else that comes with it. All I want is the time. I want more time than I do
stuff.
Work. But like I say, you will never see me sat in front of the telly other than tonight. But you'll never see me sat in front of the telly. The only time I really sit in front of the telly is like really late at night, where I've sat down finally. I'm not doing anything up here. I'm not doing anything out there. I'm not doing anything downstairs. But I'll sit down and I'll watch something that I want to watch, not something that I'm forced to fucking watch.
No.
It's the only thing on television. You know, I will watch something that's interesting to me. And that's the only real time I do it. Yeah. The point that I'm trying to make is, it's not about not working. It's about not working for money. Yeah. You can work. You can be the hardest worker. You know, I could be the hardest worker in Tamworth. It doesn't always have to be about. It doesn't always have to be for money. People get this idea in their head that if you're not earning money, you're not fucking working. Yeah. You know, and that's got nothing to do with it whatsoever.
No. This is literally this was at the start when I mentioned about changing the world for the money thing. This is exactly my idea. You just do your time and you use your time to earn other things instead of getting paid or paying for stuff. You do a amount of time doing something and you get something in return, whether it be time or even if it was a holiday, you do a certain amount of hours in working that you do like, and you get rewarded with a holiday.
You read any information on universal basic income? The whole point of universal basic income is to give people more options and more leisure time. Yeah. So you know you're more productive because you're not fucking knackered. You know, doing 75 hours on a job that's monotonous. Your production level goes down 2/3 of the day. The last third is a waste of fucking time. Yeah. It's a waste of money even for the businesses because you start to feel, you know, and then of course by Thursday your production level has gone right down the pan because
you're knackered.
Because you're just chasing cash.
Yeah.
You know, you're just chasing cash and you're doing it at any cost. Any cost to your family, any cost to your well-being, your mental well-being, your everything will go as a result of that. Like I say, common misconception is if you're not earning money, you're not working, therefore you're a lazy bastard. And yet, you know, for me, you know, I'm probably, I'm probably working harder than somebody who's, you know, earning 300 fucking quid a week. Compared to what I earn, you know. But for me, I earn what I need. My life plate, I call it a life plate. And when I talk to people in the studio about your life plate, so I call it a life plate. I go, if you stack it, you fucking stack it, man. You're going to work. You're going to have to go to work, and you're going to have to earn a lot of money to pay for this stuff. If your life plate is pretty, you know, it's pretty low, then you've got lots of free time on your hands. You've got to do the things that you really want to do: crochet, woodwork, bloody this, that, you know. But you're doing something that's valuable to your mental well-being.
And if you want a
mental well-being, it has to be good for your mental well-being.
Yeah. If you want a perfect time to do it, this is now. Like this is the perfect time now to be doing all of them things. If you're stuck inside, do it.
Yes, it
because you're going to go back to work and you're going to probably know about it. So this is like, if you see people, I see a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm bored. I've got nothing to do at home."
I mean, fuck me. You know,
they don't want to go back to work anyway. So you might as well make the most of it. But yeah, they're bored.
They're bored at home because they can't occupy themselves. They can't think, what could I do? They can't think, what do I want to do generally? They can't. Because they've been so stuck with what they've been doing, that their mind is metronomically geared towards doing that job. Imagine how you would feel mentally if somebody ripped you out of what you're doing now and stuck you in one of those fucking vile Amazon boxes where literally, you know me talking about the EU sits in the middle. All Amazon is a fucking shed with everybody else's stuff in it. It's not stuff they're making. They're not producing that bit. It's a great big fucking shed. What a poor bastard to work it long hours, literally just going
just to get their stuff out.
There, that goes here, that goes fucking there. They're doing it for hours and hours. You imagine having, you know, this ripped away from you just to end up in a box. Now I know you well enough because you've already experienced one occasion in your working life where you felt your life was just fucking dropping through the floor. You couldn't understand why the people there had been there 30 years. You'd only been there 6 months and your fucking mind was already going, oh my God,
what am I doing?
What am I doing? Where's my fucking life going?
Where's my
You wonder where my hair's going. You wonder where my hair went, Jack. Doing this, like working places and then ended up finding I'm going, oh my God, what am I doing? Where's my life going? It has no value to it whatsoever, other than lining the pocket. That bloke who's driving around in a fucking XJS, which I don't.
He's been doing it for God knows how long.
Have an XJS, have a fucking Tesla, have what you like. Just don't expect me to be doing 75 hours to fucking work to get you the fucking Tesla. You know, you want it that bad. You fucking work for it because I don't want a lot. I don't want a lot. I just want a life that, you know, doesn't impinge on anything and anybody or, you know, or anything. I'm not driving around in a car or something that I don't feel any connection with whatsoever. You know, I love my van. I love my van because I can fucking sleep in it. I love my van because I can chuck my bloody base in the back. I can chuck the fire pit in the back. I can go and spend the weekend in a festival in comfort.
You got a bit of freedom.
I've got that freedom, you know, and that's kind of where it is for me. And interestingly, I've got a client who's come here at the minute, and he's a police officer, and he's really quite high up in the police rankings. And he's a bit of a tough cookie as well. He's a tough guy. Yeah. He's got a martial arts club as well as working ridiculously long hours for the police.
Yeah. Cool.
Somehow he manages to fit it in and do a great, you know, he's got his martial arts club for the you know, for the town, like, you know, it's quite a social thing that he's created. He's got a lot of people coming to this club and enjoying the experience of learning martial arts. And, you know, when he came for me, when he came here, you know, he came and he basically said straight off, like, you know, like, things, you know, he wanted to get some stuff out of it.
Yeah.
I've been tattooing one of his, you know, one of the police officers that he got to know and got to know me. And so in his head, he was here to come and have a little bit of his work done and have a bit of a chat and get some shit out of it. And, you know, because when he was talking to me, he was pretty much well enough on the first day I met him. And as it turns out, you know, he's actually become pretty good at fucking getting stuff out of my head.
Nice.
And,
nice.
you know, he retires soon. He retires at the age that I'm at now.
Yeah.
And I had a little fucking blip one day, and he came in and he took a good look at me and he was like, "What's the matter? I know there's something wrong with you, what's the matter?" Yeah. And he was right. You know, I was feeling really depressed, really anxious. And I was saying, you know, one of the things, and I was saying it welled up with tears in my eyes. It's like, you know, when the fuck, because people don't understand this as well. Because it's too easy to say, you're a poor person and you get what you deserve and this and that. You know, nobody knows how people's lives are going to go. But what I will say to those people is, listen, you know, I've worked every fucking week of my life, mate. You know, I've had jobs where I've had very little time off. And I've had jobs where, you know, I'm working all the fucking time. Mm. And, you know, even now I'm working and I've worked all my life. But the point is that at the age of 52, you know, he's retiring because he's joined the police and got a package and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't seem to get any of those things. So, you know, my reason why I was so upset was because I couldn't see an end date to when, you know, I didn't have to work ever again, and that every ounce
you were just going to do it forever.
Yeah, I just really couldn't see a time where I wasn't paying rent and paying this, and paying that, and therefore I could live a little bit more of a freer life.
And that's it. If you want the time thing that you was on about, then you're going to start to feel like you're not ever going to get that.
Yeah, and again, I'm only talking about working for money. You know, when do I stop working for money? Like my best friend.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He was working, and he was going to stop working for money because he's going to get pension and, you know, and good luck to him because he's worked fucking hard for it. For what I can gather. You know, I wish him no way to undermine what somebody else has got or what somebody else does or what somebody chooses to do. This is my life is my life, and
it's just for you.
And how these things affect me is me, and is in no way anything to do with what this friend does. No. You know, he works fucking hard, and he deserves everything that he gets. You know, we live in the monetary system. You know, the monetary system means that you know you do all right, you do okay, but even though you've worked all your life as well, because of twists and turns along the way. It ain't quite worked out the same as you. So you're fucking stuck in it for a whole lot longer. As it turns out, it's about 75. And of course, when you get your pension, you're fucked. You know,
you can't do as much fun as you can't do much anymore.
Yeah, well, I couldn't live here. Not on a state pension.
No.
It wouldn't cover the fucking rent.
You have to live in your van.
I have to live in your van, yeah.
It probably won't even be a van, it won't be a floating van.
Yeah.
Like a hover car.
You know, I've entertained all these ideas. You know, that one day, you know, given the circumstance at the moment, that I could one day potentially be living out back in my van. You know, and if that's the case, that's the case.
Yeah,
you know, I'll fucking deal with it, man. I will deal with it. This is the difference in the person pre-2007
that you are now.
That I am now, and it's been, it's been a journey. It's been a very, it's been a very enlightening journey, and it's been a very, for me, I don't like to use the term spiritual, but I feel very connected to everything around me, and I feel that my senses are, they're just heightened. And
So you've got that.
Why not? Because I've been opening my eyes, I've been widening my scope, I've been looking into stuff, I've been getting involved in stuff, I've been thinking up my own ideas, I was messaging fucking Graham Hancock and Randolph Carlson not so long back, because I genuinely believe that I've worked out how they built the pyramids. I've got it all documented, and I've got it all down. And everybody I'll show it to, they go, fucking hell, I reckon that would work. Because it's a very simple idea. And I sent it to Randolph Carlson and Graham Hancock, because I honestly thought they would look at these ideas, and there was mathematical calculations on there, everything. I really honestly thought they would look at these ideas and go, either, or either go, somebody else has thought them up, or that's a good idea, but, this is why it's not so good. But it's good that you're thinking, and it's good for some reason. You're spending your days trying to work out how the pyramids were built, to the point of drawing successful drawings, so that when you show them to your mate, he looks at them and goes, fucking hell, mate, I reckon that's how they did it. Listen, do they ever get back to you? Do they ever come back to say, even so much as, stop bothering me, you fucking weirdo, or you crank, or whatever? They don't come back. They don't come back, because they're just as bad as the people they're fighting against. They're fighting against people who want to leave this earth with their name at the top of the tree. But that's why they don't want to listen to Graham Hancock's ideas, Randolph Carlson's ideas, because they want to be, the name that's on the paper.
They want to be the top.
Ideas, not them. Yeah, of course. But that's because they've lost sight of what's important. What's important is the truth. No, nothing else. Nothing else is more important than the truth about things. So why make it like that? Why settle on something so rigid and so like, no, that's how it was done. So
that's it done.
Yeah, so I'm not interested.
I'm right, you're wrong.
It's already worked it out, there's a load of shit like the Sphinx is only 2,000 years old, and they're finding evidence that the Sphinx is fucking 10,000 years old, which turns the whole fucking idea of Egyptology and the times and this, that, and other. It throws it into chaos. And as Jordan Peterson will tell you, and anybody else, chaos, oh my God. Chaos is not great. Not great. It really does fucking narrow people's minds when they are confronted with
the truth,
the facts that they could be wrong, that somebody else might be right. This, that, and the other. They don't like it. They don't like it.
Nobody likes it.
It's sad. It's sad because what it does. This is why I like Jacques Fresco so much. Jacques Fresco will tell you, that Jacques Fresco at the end of the day wanted to change the way the world works. And say if he managed to, if he'd have done it, Jacques Fresco is the sort of person who will go, if you put a statue of me in the square, Jacques Fresco, he did everything, then people just stop. People just go, well, it's all been done, isn't it? Jack did it all, that's why there's a statue there. So Jacques Fresco's philosophy is, do not put anything there that would hold somebody like yourself back from furthering his ideas. His ideas are only valuable for the way that society is and the way the world works, like right now, and the idea is that we, as a human race, we keep advancing. How else are we going to get to flying around in spaceships, visiting other planets, visiting planets on an interstellar fucking trip that's only 2 hours away to the nearest planet because you can go warp speed because we've invented all the stuff that we simply haven't. Not yet.
Not yet. All in good time.
Well,
I'm sure you could do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Listen, Jack, read my Facebook stuff. You know, tackling nuclear energy. Specifically says in my posts that nuclear energy is not for this earth, and it specifically says in my posts. However, there has to be some kind of use for it. And I thought that one of the ideas for nuclear energy would be propulsion through space. You know, where the emissions of a nuclear reactor, you know, the emissions in space, well, it doesn't matter, does it? Because, you know, that's what space is. All you're taking is materials of space, using it for propulsion across space in an environment that likes that type of thing, you know, an environment that's conducive with radiation.
It doesn't harm anyone, yeah.
No, whereas Earth's got an atmosphere, and if you put the materials of space under the atmosphere, then the atmosphere quickly becomes the materials of space, and therefore your planet dies. So whoever decided, you know, I don't know if you know. I know I've gone off on a tangent here, but you know, coal is burnt, right? Fossil fuel, coal is burnt, and it boils, it heats water vapor, creates steam, turns a fucking blade, which creates electricity. That's how it works. Nuclear fucking reactors. We use nuclear reactors to heat water, to create steam, to turn turbines, to create electricity. And as a human being that thinks that that's a fucking mistake, and fossil fuel is a mistake, I asked the question to all these so-called fucking people: how hard can it be to turn fucking turbines?
Yeah.
We need this horrendous stuff on the planet. How difficult can it be to turn turbines? Listen, you know, let's get, I don't know, this is just one crazy idea. We've got Team GB, absolutely brilliant at cycling, right? Cycling. You know, get these people training on push bikes attached to a fucking turbine, and they'd be there on it all day. They'd be powering, you know, they'd be
winning medals and powering the world.
Yes, they'd be getting fit to win the Olympics, and they would be able to power the world. But the real point is, how difficult is it to turn turbines? You know, without causing so much catastrophic damage to the world. And this is where we are again with this coronavirus. People out there need to also remember, this is the cleanest air you've ever breathed. This is the cleanest air you have ever breathed. If it wasn't for a virus, you'd be hard pushed to know whether you was in some kind of like dream utopia, because it has crossed my mind. You know, the way some things have been going. You know, at one point I was thinking, fuck me, am I causing this? Is this all in my head and I'm causing this? Because I can see utopian things going on. I can see clean air. And I can guarantee one thing, Jack, that while we're all isolated in our homes, that there's no fucking way scientists that will be stuck in their houses just being gifted this opportunity to really measure the impact of humanity on the planet. There is absolutely no way that there will be thousands of scientists fucking sat at home, isolated, sitting next to the fridge, you know, going, fucking, I'm bored, I can't wait to go back to work. They're out there, mate. They're out there. And after this virus is done, and after we all go back to this, I can guarantee there will be program after program on the television, all to do with scientific data, the sort of shit you want to hear about, the sort of stuff that you want to hear about. this is what happened when a virus came along. Look at the smog lifting from China. Look at the smog lifting from Mexico City. Look at the smog lifting from fucking New York and London and everything else and all this stuff going on. And they were saying within weeks that they'd seen dolphins in Venice. Well, listen, if you're breathing really clean air and you are watching dolphins swimming in the canals in Venice, I suspect you've just taken LSD. Because in your mind, Jack, that's the only way you'll ever experience that. Is through some kind of hallucinogenics. Because right now you're breathing the cleanest air, and you know there are dolphins swimming. Also, as well, you know, don't forget, while the world was in lockdown, nobody was bombing anyone. You know, I heard somewhere that Israel had started bombing Syria again, which is sad to hear. But then, you know, that's fucking Israel for you. You know, what would you expect from a right-wing government, other than to go out with fucking aeroplanes and start bombing civilians in a war-torn fucking country? So nothing surprises me there. But you know, but you know, there were no wars. London was awash with stabbing stories, wasn't it? Wasn't it? You know, in London, you hear on the news somebody stabbed. You know, but people weren't stabbing anybody. Nobody was being fucking raped or murdered.
Oh, that's it. There's not been barely any bad news apart from coronavirus news.
Yeah. So look at, you know, you've got to really look at the whole picture of, you know, you're sitting at home. You know, not just me. Fucking everybody. My landlord is out with the army. But, you know, the banks have gone, don't worry. I said, look, your housing stock, don't worry. Just do what you've got to do. In the meantime, here's a bit of money. And this is happening to everybody. You know, this is how I knew that, you know, as soon as they started going, you'll get money, don't worry about it, you'll get money. You know, the pressure of trying to, I could relax a bit because I was no longer staring at every day like this will be my last day, if it all goes shits up. You know, and Joe Rogan and Tim Paul mentioned that there was the possibility of food shortages, and that there were countries that were starting to rake it in a bit, you know, and stop letting stuff go out so much. And at one point, you did see that the shops had arranged the shelves so that they looked full. But actually, there was a lot of items missing, you know.
The front, so you can't see what's beyond. Nothing beyond.
But for me, you know, when I first went into a shop and saw empty shelves, I went straight back home and I said, "It's happening.
This is
happening. You know, it's happening. We need to get growing food. We need to start establishing where everything is, what we need, you know, because it's the most basic things you need, food and water." And I literally was genuinely working with the idea in mind that the terrace where we live couldn't sustain us forever, but it could give us the ground to go, right, we've got food, we've got water, what next? You know,
where do we go from there?
Where do we go next, mate? I even had all that in my head, you know, that the first place to travel to was near Simon's Yacht, you know, around that area on the border of Wales. You know, to try and find a settlement area near a river so that you could catch fish. So that you could hunt game, you know, you could forage for this and forage for that. You know, I mean,
you went through the whole thing.
I went through the whole fucking thing, but you know, not just me, but you know, Joe as well. You know, Joe's head at the beginning was a real wash with all manner of stuff. You might want to get him on the show and get him to talk about it.
Yeah, that would be good. You have to tell him.
For a time, you know, me and Joe, I hadn't seen him, and I could see that it. I mean, I was struggling, and Joe was struggling. You know, he had these thoughts going through his head, and I could understand all of these thoughts. But I could see more than anything how it was affecting him, and I fucking get to speak to him. It was fucking horrible. He'd literally come and see me and offload all this stuff. And that was just bad in his head and was fucking tearing him apart. And then he'd leave and I'd be like, oh, I couldn't.
Yeah,
It was a fucking horrible time.
Yeah.
Beginning, where for us two was very close mates. Me and Joe were very, very close mates. Even though there's a massive age gap, we are just close mates. And I can tell you now, Jack, what we'll say about Joe is, if I'd have met Joe when I was, say if we were the same age, if I'd have met Joe all those years ago when I was 27, 28, I don't think I would have gone through half the stuff that I have been through.
Yeah.
But I would have come out the other end just as enlightened by an experience, life experience.
Yeah.
Because when I met Joe, it was like two minds coming together. And it was like, boom, fucking.
Yeah.
I'll tell you some shit. You tell me some shit. And I'll tell you some shit. There's all this shit going on. And fucking life's like this. It's mad. And
that's good,
we would talk for fucking hours, mate. And whenever everybody asks me about Joe, because you've got to understand that, there's a funny side to this, and that is like, me and Joe, obviously musicians, and we play music together. When we were going to the Beltane together, it'd be like either take Joe's van or take my van. And we go to the Beltane together. We go to the Beltane together as two fucking mates who live on the terrace as neighbours, who make music together. But some of the people on the Beltane, especially those, they've been looking at us like, because we mix, but we don't overdo it. We like our company. We like to spend a lot of time with each other to talk. And we were getting people coming up going, so, basically, is he your partner? Are you boyfriends? Are you like a dirty old man who likes, likes young boys and that? And, we're genuinely getting people and questions, like, what's your role in all this? Are you a partner? And you just go, no, we're fucking neighbours. Joe lives at one end of the terrace with his missus, and I live at the other end with my missus. He's got a dog, and I've got two cats, and that's what this is about. Whatever's in your
normal,
which I'm sad to hear. But the way, if anybody asks me about Joe, I just say dead simple. You put us in a room together for a couple of hours. Yeah. And at the end of it, somebody will be going, hang on a bit, we haven't finished, we haven't finished all. Can you give us another hour? Can you give us another hour because we need another hour? And that's what it's like with Joe.
To release some thoughts or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's been a very, very intense friendship. I've got to be honest. It's a very intense friendship, more intense than I've ever had with anyone. And it's been, it is.
It is what it is.
It is one of the most fulfilling friendships I've ever had. In terms of when we get that time together, we don't get as much as we used to, but when we do get that time, it's like the best talk time because we're both quite serious people. Yeah. We can have a laugh. We do have a laugh. I can have a laugh even though I come across as being this really fucking serious person. But we're together. We're both quite serious people, and we talk serious
issues stuff. Yeah.
We do, and people care to listen to his fucking songs and listen to the lyrics. Joe's fucking trying to tell you something. Yeah. And you're all in there, including me. The biggest. I've got this book on my back, it's got all Joe's lyrics in it, you know, songs he's written. Plus a couple that I've written myself, but it's got all of Joe's fucking songs in it that we've written as Amington shorts. And when I first, you know, when I met Joe, like, I wasn't playing the bass, I wasn't playing anything. It was Joe who encouraged me to play the bass.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, and I don't care what anybody thinks, you know, it's because of what Joe introduced into my life that was giving me so much of a creative output. Yeah. And I'm, you know, I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to, you know, I think I'm a good bass player. I think I've adopted a style that is fairly unique, and it all comes from his fucking music. So, you know, who have I got to be grateful for bringing? And this is the difference. Again, going back to what we talked about, people who, you know, why have shit people in your life who are dragging you down and making you fucking abnormal?
You can have people who make it better.
They're just enrich your fucking life. Yeah. So they enrich your life and they bring something out of you. They didn't.
That you didn't even probably realise.
Yeah. So for me, you know, he brought music out. Yeah. In me, because I thought musicians were other people. You know, musicians were other people, and now for me, you know, people ask me, I don't say I'm a bass player. I say I'm a musician because I pick up the bass and I can play along to whatever you're playing. So you put a track on in your house.
You
got my bass, I'll pick it up. I'll find some notes, mate. You know, and if I learn a new instrument, I'll find notes. Yeah. I find, you know, within, you know, we bought these melodicas and that. And,
nice.
And it was a vintage German-made melodica. And but I bought it, and before you know it, playing it on songs. I've never fucking had one of these.
I've never even seen one. I've
never played the piano, but for some reason,
you can play
because of the creativity that I believe my mate brought out. Means I can buy one of these, and before we know it, I'm recording stuff on it, and it's on an Amington Shore song, which it is. It's on Suzanne Who, and it's played by me, and I could never have expected that, Jack. But, you know, I could never have expected that 4 years ago. Yeah. You know, it just wasn't happening. And I met Joe just from being like, you know, I could see him down the terrace, and they were the sort of, you know, they were sort of, because they lived at the end, if they went out, they'd go around the corner and go out from that way, but they would never come up the terrace. Yeah, of course. So what's yours? Like, so I saw Joe cleaning his motorbike, and I'd got a motorbike, so I'd got this CBF 1000, like this great big fucking thing, and I could see Joe had got his motorbike down there, and I thought, I'll go and say hello to that. I'll go and say hello to him, and I went down there and I went, "You all right, mate?" And I said, "Is this your bike?" And I said, "That's nice, isn't it?" Of course, it wasn't. It's one of those fucking horrible Japanese like 125s. So you might as well start a good friendship off with a little lie, like, just to say your bike's nice, mate, even though the chrome's all rusty and it looks like a sack of shit. That's funny. And he's there cleaning it and everything, and that's how it all started. And then before I knew it, I found out he played guitar. And when I first heard Joe play guitar, you know, I thought he's fucking you know, this kid's good, you know. And I'd say to him, "What are you doing in your bedroom? You should be fucking out there
playing for a band,
doing people need to hear this." Yeah. And that was just his guitar skills. And then he sent me a song where he put some lyrics to it. Yeah. And you know, and then I was truly fucking impressed, because I was thinking, not only can he play guitar really well, he can write and fucking sing, and he's not a bad singer either, even though he thinks he's shit. We've had that conversation. You know, because he's a massive Bob Dylan fan, Jerry. And of course, Bob Dylan can't sing for fucking shit, but he uses what he's got and he makes it happen.
Makes it good.
And you know, Joe, you know, he wrote these songs, and I was doubly impressed. And then I was trying to get him out to play. That's when he said, "Well, get a bass and we'll have a little play together." So I gave him a looper pedal. I bought this looper pedal, which you can basically stick some riffs on.
And you keep it playing.
Yeah, and you could do up to 40 loops on it.
Yeah.
I gave it Joe, and I said, Joe said, "Give me that looper pedal. I'll put some stuff on it for you to practice to." And he went home and literally, mate, within 3 hours, he filled this fucking looper pedal of about 15 different guitar riffs and tracks. And
for you to go on?
Yeah, just for me to practice alongside.
Yeah.
So I practiced alongside that. I listened to the Black Angels, which I absolutely love, Black Angels. Another band called Josephine Horn. And I would say Josephine Horn and the Liberation and the Black Angels and the music, you know, that's largely responsible for my learning curve. Playing the bass, which literally went like a pandemic, like that, you know, like that, you know. But it still seems to be going up because Joe's producing stuff that, you know, I feel stretches me as a bass player, and you know, and it works like that. It's reciprocated. You know, I think we're stretching each other now, and it's the most important thing in my life at the minute.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's one of the most important things in my life, and I truly haven't yet to experience fully enjoying it, because it just hasn't
so much more
that
to
way
look at.
Yeah, you know, but I haven't really had the chance to fully enjoy it, and I haven't really had the chance to experience other people fully enjoying it as well, you know. So
I think that's where we go from here now. So let's say this. Let's finish with where after all this, after coronavirus, where are you looking to go with the music? Where do you want to go? Yeah, the music.
With the music, we really don't. Honestly, Jack, we really don't have any ambition whatsoever, other than to write
enjoy
music,
it,
play it, and enjoy it. It's one of those things. It's like your podcast. If people start tuning into Jack to do to listen to his podcast, suddenly you can start earning a living from it. And if you earn a living from it, you can do it more and more. Because that's how the money system works. You know, for me and Joe, I genuinely, honestly believe that if we could just earn enough money to say that we could do it full time, even if we only did it full time for the next 10 years, you know, as long as we got to do it, got to experience it, I think we'd settle for that, you know, but we're not in it. But I really, it's a difficult one, because, you know, doing what you're doing, you could find one day that you're a very rich man, and doing what we're doing, we could find one day that we're very wealthy, because all of a sudden the music's took off. And on my art range, I believe Amington Shaw's music to be as good, if not better, than what's out there earning money.
Oh,
so, you know, if there was money to come from it, me and Joe, you know, genuinely, mate, we're not looking for the money. We just want to get Amington Shaw's music out there. There's a message in there. There's a message in there. People take time to read, to take time to listen to what Joe's writing, because, you know, you've got to understand that when Joe writes something, when it comes to me, it can come almost already like a full song, and my parts are only like put bass on it and put some backing vocals on it, but the guy, you know, he can produce a whole fucking song. You know, and then then you put the bass on.
But together you make it perfect.
Yeah, and it just works for us.
And that's where it goes, isn't it?
And if one day we're wealthy through it, I can guarantee, Jack, if we are wealthy through it, you won't see us rolling around in Bentley's.
Oh no, oh no, you won't. You'll still have the van.
No, you know, money's what is the use of millions of pounds to you when you're fucking dead, man? You know, I'm living a life right now where I believe that when I get to the end of it, I will literally have nothing other than, you know, some very basic things. I really, honestly, want to die. When I die, you know, because I'm not scared of fucking dying, but honestly, when I die, I want to die with absolutely nothing, absolutely nothing. And for anything that I have achieved and anything that I have got, there are others out there who are probably less fortunate than us, who are reaping the benefits. That's what I'd like.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I like. And when I talk to Joe, you know, he's not that different. He doesn't see the sense in the way the world works. He doesn't see the sense in the way that things are and all the shit things you have to do just to make ends meet. So, you know, if we can work as musicians, if that can be our job, well, for the first time in Joe's life and the first time in my life, we're truly doing something to get reward and value. So, you know, long may it continue, you know, our friendship as well, because on a personal note, you know, it's one friendship means a lot to me. I've got another good friend who was a friend who kind of disappeared, you know, when I had the breakdown and that. But we've since become friends again. It feels like a very valuable, you know, it seems like a very valuable friendship. But so there's a couple of people in my life who I genuinely regard as sort of good friends.
Yeah.
And so Joe speaks for itself, listen to the music. You know, Amington Shores, there's a lot of music out there. There's a terrible lot of music out there. And there's going to be a lot more.
Yeah.
So, just literally, let's produce the music. You know, we're just going to produce music, put it out there, and it's everybody else.
Yeah, man. We'll definitely look forward to seeing more.
Yeah. Well, when
when this is over, I'll all be there. There was literally before this happened. I think you had that a Sunday or something that was coming up.
Yeah.
And obviously, then this happened. So couldn't have worked.
Trust me, mate.
I'll be there.
When this is over, we're actually playing. I'm going to be going and physically dragging people to come and watch our gigs because, you know, I'm all for equality. I'm all for like interest in fairness.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a lot of time for a lot of people, and I think that there is room for them to just put a little bit of time into something that's important to me. So
of course.
You know, there are people out there who know that they've had a lot of my time, you know, and time is the only thing that I have that's precious to me. You know, and I just think, come and watch me play a gig, come and watch our band perform, and come and fucking have a night out and enjoy yourselves. You know, but you know, just bring a fucking smile and show some willing. You know, I've got good mates who have never seen me play, never seen Amington Shores play. You know, I've got, you know, mates that I watched them play, never watched us. So yeah, I'm going to be grabbing a few people who probably why I bought the band, so I can just fucking stock it with bands, just go to their house, drag them out their house, throw them in the van, lock them in. Take them to a gig, make them watch the fucking gig like they're supposed to, without my interference.
Yeah.
Just come and be a friendly face.
That's it. And obviously I've had the pleasure of you being on here, so I owe it to you to now come and watch. So I'll be the first one.
And your girlfriend.
Yeah, she'll come along. We'll love it. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, and your dad and your mum, because, you know, I'd love to see your mum and dad there, you know. Good night out to them. And it's always, because from their perspective, they know me and you know me, and they know me, but they've You know, you've never seen me perform, and that's what you see. You watch me and Joe and Matt. We've got a new member of the band, Matt. We haven't seen that much because of the lockdown lot. But when it's all over, we intend to get back together. But you've never seen, you know, you only know me as a tattooist. You've never seen me perform. You know, and you've got to understand, you know, the simple fact that I am there singing and fucking performing with Joe and the band. Yeah. That was just never meant to happen. That was just never meant to happen. I was never meant to be that open to people that I would actually physically perform music, sing like you fucking mean it, and be passionate about the songs and all that type of thing, and put it out in the performance in front of people. You know, so you'll see, it's quite weird because you'll be like, fucking hell, don't know, it's fucking, you know, you can make a dick of himself as much as that.
No, I'm sure it'll be quality. Yeah, look forward to it.
How many shows do we only do quality music?
And people that watch this podcast, hopefully as well, will take that on board and they'll go and look at Amington Shores now.
Yeah, come and see Amington Shores because it's not just about the music. It's not just about the music. You know, we like to talk to people. Joe, you know, listen, Jack, get Joe on here. He'll talk
man, definitely.
He's a very articulate young man.
Yeah,
and
that'd be good.
He knows how to talk. And, you know, the people that come to the gigs, you know, find that when they start talking to us, if they're interested in what we're doing and they're interested in the music, when they start talking to us, they can be asking us questions when you're there. You're chatting to him for like 2 hours sometimes. I was chatting to this one guy in the car park for about an hour because he just happened to ask me one question about the band. And
he just kept
his head off. And you know, he just wanted to know more about Amington Shores after, like, you know. So
that's it. We all want to know more. We want to see. That. Yeah. It's good though. They're the people that I need on here that keep talking.
And we've got a lot to say.
Got lots to say. Yeah.
We've got a lot to say, you know, and we're quite different in a lot of areas, you know. You know, I genuinely, I think it says on Facebook, I genuinely want to save the world, and I fucking do because it needs saving. You know, I can't do it on my own. I get that thrown at me a lot of time. You can't do it on your own. Well, fucking help me then. You know, fucking help me. Help the people around us to do something different instead of what we're doing. It's not working.
That's hopefully what we've got out there in this podcast. Thanks for talking. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, nice one, Jack.
You know,
if we get a chance to talk again, you know, we'd like to talk about experiences. I would like to talk about it, you know, so I think there's a lot.
We've covered quite a lot tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we've covered politics, covered education, the mental health within yourself and other people.
Yeah, I haven't finished the mental health.
Oh no, we'll be back there.
Yeah, sounds.
But yeah, just need to make sure people like and subscribe to PodJack95 now. And watch your videos and follow Amington Shores on YouTube. And go and watch their gigs.
If anything, it's something to fucking do. It's something extra to do in your life. And, you know, what you got to lose?
Yeah, that's how I'm taking it as well. What you got to lose?
Everything to gain, nothing to lose.
That's it, man. Thank you.
All right then, Jack.
See you later.
I'll see you later.
Aim for the moon, got stuck in the stars, found in the sky, I lost my head, feet became lead, heavy to tread, dripping on words that are yet to be said. Don't do things that harm me, I'm a one-man army, so see that you charm me and seek to disarm me. You tell me you love me, you say that you need me, beautiful words. walk